chemical light pulls on those holy pajamas. Now he's ready for the fight. Undergrounder, racing through a world that only he can see. Undergrounder, built for danger that was never meant to be. When the night gets hazy and the headlines fade, he's a hero in his head on a make-believe crusade. Undergrounder, saving children that were never there to save. Sirens in his stereo, cardboard in his jaw. Every alley, every shadow, another self-made law. He draws a line, then crosses it in scenes he improvises. Every mission is triumphant, 'cause the victims are disguises. Undergrounder, racing through a world that only he can see. Undergrounder, built for danger that was never meant to be. When the night gets hazy and the headlines fade, he's a legend in his living room, on a TV in his brain. Undergrounder, saving children that were never there to save. Undergrounder.
My friends, we are live. It is after midnight here in Virginia, and I don't give a shit because your boy is having a bad day. Now, you might think that he's having a bad day because he's in the Epstein-Ballard matrix. Yes, I, Ex-Mojo, I'm also in the matrix. And maybe you are too. What is the matrix, Neo? No, I mean, I can't find my damn glasses. I cannot. I've looked everywhere. I hate those glasses, so I won't miss them. Sorry that we missed our opportunity to connect on Wednesday. Frankly, I just used it as an excuse that I had not sufficiently prepared people for that. I was going to go live in the middle of the night. I used that as an excuse to make up for the fact that I have used all of my spare time when I wasn't doing podcast related business to do church business. That's right. This godless atheist, this godless Korihor is a church man now. I thought it'd never happen again. But the Church of Korihor, our spiritual community for godless people, is thriving. Hey, we got Tim in the house. We got Jesse, our first beta tester volunteer. Thank you, Jesse, for being here. I have been working on a special project I'm going to debut here in a little bit. But first, we got to get caught up about Tim Ballard, who is, wild. I don't know how many of you caught the Timmy Did What podcast with Carah Burrell, Carah, wherever you are, and Ryan Fisher from this week. It was a good one. If you didn't catch it, you should go back and look at it. Apparently, it is. Hey, Diana, how's it going? Sorry I couldn't make it out to see you last weekend. Was it last weekend? The weekend before? Sorry I couldn't make it out there. I had planned to, but we were not in a great place to be taking time away, me and my partner. So we stuck around the house and just kind of homebodied it, staycationed here at the house and in Virginia. But gotta come through and see you next time I'm in Oklahoma, which I hope to be relatively soon. In any event, I want to tell you guys a story. Welcome, Starry. Welcome. And while I'm telling you the story, I'm not going to be looking at the comments very much. So amuse yourselves, and don't say mean shit about me. Just kidding. I don't care. Ding-a-ling. My project. I'm just going to publish this one. I just got a notification saying that my project has finished the development of yet another feature of the Korihor app. Prove and publish. I haven't even looked at it. It's just that's the kind of off the cuff, fly by night operation we're running here at the Church of Korihor. If you did not know, the Church of Korihor is developing its own social media app, and it's pretty exciting so far. I don't know what challenges lay ahead of us. I'm sure it'll be catastrophic, and I'll do a lot of screaming and throwing shit at some point. It's not happened yet, and it's kind of left me with a little bit of a waiting for the other shoe to drop kind of thing. Let me go ahead and share with you a tab here. I want to start out by telling you a little story. Share screen. The screen I'm going to share with you is boom. Here we go. An article from your favorite news publication and mine. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Gonna remove the. Let's see how. Yes. Ooh, how can I do this better? Let's do this better. Everybody see okay? You people who are watching in the profile orientation, I don't know what to tell you. It's weird, or portrait orientation. It's weird. Yeah, this is the best I can do on that. I'm gonna have to cater to the desktop folks. So yeah, everybody can hear me okay. Hopefully, if not, leave a holler. Have somebody who has my phone number text me because I'm going to be in the other screen. Oh, ding-a-ling! I just got another notification saying published to the site. Hopefully it looks good because I haven't even had time to check it. That's the kind of fly-by-night organization we're running here. Everybody's favorite periodical, the San Pete Messenger. Yes, friends, the San Pete Messenger. This is an article from February 21st, 2025. I'm going to tell you why this is maybe coming up more relevant. But first, I want to finish my story. Sorry. If you didn't catch Timmy Did What podcast, apparently Tim Ballard's lawyer explained the reason why, at long last, the Utah Crime Research Department, whatever it's called, has a skirt of Celeste Boris's with Tim Ballard's DNA on it. The Tim Ballard swimmers, the Timmer swimmers on it. It's got the sacred sauce. It's got the sacred seed. It's got the it's got the covenants on it, because apparently, not because Tim Ballard took Celeste Boris, his executive assistant at Operation Underground Railroad, to Linden, and at some point, after she had told him, apparently, according to her, not to blessed or anointed her skirt, her leather skirt, with his holy covenants, but because they were on operations together, and he didn't want to, but for the sake of the couple's ruse and maintaining the illusion that he was a trafficker, had to procure the services of a high-end prostitute, and in the process of maintaining the illusion, became, unfortunately, while maintaining his vows to his lovely Catherine, his lovely wife, found himself in a hard situation and had to relieve himself in private. And the only way to do so was with his executive assistant's leather skirt. And so we see that this skirt, according to Tim Ballard, is not proof that he was unfaithful to his wife. Quite to the contrary, proof of how good he was to his wife. And apparently there is an audio recording of Tim Ballard's lawyer making this defense on behalf of his client, just proving even for once more uh, that perhaps the worst job in the world is Tim Ballard's lawyer. Um, I just, oh my God. So, speaking of which, we may have connected to the story I'm going to show you today more of Tim Ballard, more information about another one of Tim Ballard's lawyers I have spoken of only in brief allusion. But we don't have time to get into that today. We got to talk about Joe and Lee Benyon. And so we get back to the Sam Pete Messenger. This becomes relevant news. I know that this is a year old, this article, but it's the backstory. Just go with it. Just go with it. Okay. So I'm going to show you, first of all, I'm going to scroll through this guy right here you're looking at. This is Ken Krogue. Do you remember when Tim Ballard was kicked out of Operation Underground Railroad? Only apparently he left, but we know that he was effectively fired from Operation Underground Railroad. They said at the time, because of a conflict of interest, right at the same time that the Mormon Church made a statement about how immoral his behavior and decisions were because he was abusing his relationship with President M. Russell Ballard, who, at the time was the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. No relation, blood relation, though even Tim Ballard says that he was like a grandfather to him. People have called me out for saying that he is Tim's grandfather. I have said that in the past. I thought that in the past because of the way Tim talks about him. It turns out they do not appear to be near blood relations, but they are. But Tim Ballard does say that he thought of President Ballard like his grandfather. Okay, well, when he left, a statement was made about how Tim Ballard uses the couple's ruse not to violate his covenants with his wife, but to save his precious relationship with his wife. And that statement was released by the Spear Fund. The Spear Fund at that time was headed by this man, apparently, the founder of InsideSales.com, one Ken Krogue. He's basically a multimillionaire. Some of you have been around to have heard this story in the past. I'm going to briefly recap. One day, Ken Krogue was driving into Utah County on the I-15, as you do. It was snowy. As everybody who's driven on the I-15 in the snow knows, that's some dangerous crap. And he basically flung his Chevy Silverado off the road, ran into something, wrapped it around a tree, I don't quite remember, and in the process sustained a very serious traumatic brain injury. And as a consequence of that traumatic brain injury, according to him, he was unable to continue. He found himself drawn to illicit materials of persons not adults, and couldn't seem to stop himself until he sought the services, apparently, of people of or related to Tom Harrison, apparently Tom Harrison himself. If you don't remember Tom Harrison, he's the author, allegedly, of the of the book Visions of Glory. If you know the Chad and Lori Daybell situation, you've probably heard of Visions of Glory. Also, one of the books that Tim Ballard would recommend to people at Operation Underground Railroad. Some people have even gone so far as to say he practically required people to read this book. Just making sure it's not an emergency. And so the guy running the organization, the Spear Fund at the time, allegedly, was this guy, Ken Krogue. And he's at the heart of this story about Joe and Lee Benyon. We're going to get to that a little bit, but I'm just going to read to you a little bit, not the whole article, a few things here. Since Joe and Lee Bennion moved to Spring City as newlyweds in 1977, it's the year Star Wars came out. Good little memory hook there. They've been involved in almost every aspect of community life. Both are BYU graduates and working artists. They were among the founders of Friends of Historic Spring City, the group that restored the historic Spring City School. They helped found Spring City Arts, which markets the work of Spring City artists and sponsors an annual plein air painting competition and artist studio tours. Very much salt of the earth people. But it sound like a pretty cool couple. Don't let anything that you're about to hear dissuade you from that. Just hang with us, hang tight. Since 2022, however, the couple's lives have been a nightmare because of allegations and threats published on a Substack, a subscription-based website called Investigations into Ritual Abuse. This site is operated by Jamin Darcy of Fountain, Florida, who uses the pen name Joel, which in Hebrew means avenger, and who has attracted more than 1,000 subscribers from throughout the nation. In a nutshell, the site accuses the Bennions of being the leaders in the Spring City branch of an LDS Church of Satan, often referred to online by the acronym CS. In his writings, Darcy claims the Bennions, among others, have participated in an array of acts so bizarre and heinous as to hardly be plausible. The acts include assault, abuse, and molestation of children, torture, murder, cannibalism, physical abuse, physical assault, and desecration of corpses, according to Caleb Prolks. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it, but Caleb Prolks, basically, interesting character. You go and look at his Facebook page. He's cool. He seems pretty cool. He actually does seem pretty cool. Apparently, anyways, it's the Bennion son-in-law is a lawyer, and he has had to actually come to their defense, including securing a protection order on their behalf against Ken Krogue, against this millionaire that Tim Ballard is pretty close to, and is also close to Visions of Glory man himself, Tom Harrison, allegedly. And that is how the beginning of the story happens, about that your man Exmo Joe apparently is connected into the Epstein-Ballard matrix. That actually is did they find crematoriums? I understand that the Navy had an order, and that did get circulated around, that there actually was an order for medical and death waste, or medical and death waste, anyways, that that immigration detention camps, which should be called and are concentration camps, had ordered through the Navy to be installed in these various detention camps. But in any event, it was quite a curious thing. I'm just catching up a little bit on comments. Yeah. Jesse, that's right. What are you talking about, Jesse? Are you talking about the leather skirt explanation? That is a solid explanation. That was a solid explanation. In any event, so this is the Bennions. This is the story of these Bennions situation. Okay, so in any event, that ruling, on January 30th, Judge Randall Scanchi, a senior judge in the 6th District Court, issued a 12-page opinion, also granting an injunction against Darcy, the man who runs the Substack. That ruling is more detailed than the injunction against Krogue. The injunction being allegedly, maybe I should recap that. Effectively, there is a video. Let me just say this. Allegedly, I haven't seen it yet. There's apparently a video of Ken Krogue shaking the dust off of his feet on the doorstep of Joe and Lee Bennion's home in Spring City, because this man is fully convinced on the basis of this document, of these accusations that have surfaced, that these people are the head of the Church of Satan in Spring City, Utah. Uh, Basically, there's no substance to these accusations. If you know about the Pace Memorandum, we can't say for sure that everything in the Pace Memorandum is not true. But the Pace Memorandum was a document circulated in the 90s of an investigation that the Mormon Church did internally by an order given to Glenn Pace, who was the presiding bishop of the Mormon Church at the time, to look into allegations that in Utah, certain members of the church, Mormon Church leadership, local congregations, were performing satanic rituals where they would do everything from harming children, assaulting children, and even murdering children. And investigations into these abuses apparently found none of the materials that were used, no evidence of any deceased persons, no actual substance to any of the circumstantial situation to how these things happened. They were all being collected during what was known as the Satanic Panic, using supposed repressed memories of children or people who had been children when these things occurred allegedly. Now, can recovered can memories be recovered through hypnosis? Supposedly. Can they also be heavily can a person under hypnosis also be heavily influenced by the bias of the person hypnotizing them and start to collect in their mind memories that didn't actually happen? Yes, also. And so we don't know. And there's a reason why repressed memories recovered through hypnosis generally are not considered very credible, for example, in a court of law, is because people tend to remember. You don't actually remember things kind of like a tape recorder playing it back. Your memories are really thoughts, and they're rising in the present. And so as your normal thinking patterns go, your normal creative patterns go, when you are recalling the situations and things that are happening, you're also, every time you're remembering it, you're also coloring it with your current state of mind. And so when a person is under hypnosis, they can absolutely be made, they're very suggestible. It's very suggestible. And so that's why the Satanic Panic kind of got a bad rap. That plus the supposed therapists involved in revealing all of these memories of children remembering these things that happened to them, or things people remember from their childhood. They were largely discredited when it was discovered that most of them are they're the inmates are running an asylum when it comes to these repressed memory things. Um, so in any event, it's a terrifying thing. But the fact of the matter is, the Satanic Panic, it swept the entire nation. Frankly, it went all over the world, and Utah was a hotbed for all these stories about kids who apparently witnessed their friends, being assaulted and or murdered in these ceremonies. And then after recollection, people were like, wait a second, which friend is this? Where is this? Who are the missing ones? Where is this? Oh, well, it turns out that, well, no, I mean, they were going to, but it turns out they are actually okay. Or I don't, or they misremember who it was, or they don't remember exactly who it was. They were on drugs at the time. Apparently, they drugged us. And the wild thing about this is not just how much of it is total BS, apparently made up just to traumatize people and make money off of them, and or because the people collecting these stories were not well themselves, but how much of it was true with respect to one particular individual that we're going to get to talking maybe a little bit, but not a lot. Cool. In any event, back to our story, and then I want to show you something. So in any event, so they uh, they they put out a couple of injunctions here. This is a statement from Joe Benyon. I have never been involved in any kind of abuse of people, children, men, women, sexual or otherwise. He adds the allegations that have been made are just not true. The only crime I am guilty of is being someone's friend, referring to David Hamblin. I want you to remember that name, David Hamblin, because when I say David Hamblin, we're talking about a man who is one sick puppy who helps to make a lot of sense about the connection, Tim Ballard's connections into the same world as people like Jody Hildebrandt. If you remember, if you, I don't know if you caught this, but there's an audio recording surfacing now where apparently Jody Hildebrandt in prison. You don't know her or the Eight Passenger Saga? Go look that up. We don't have time to catch up. Let me explain. No, there's too much. Let me sum up. Jody Hildebrandt hurt children. She's a crazy person. She's also one of Tom Harrison's devotees, apparently, and maybe connected, maybe some 2 degrees separation to your man Ex Mojo. Not my favorite thing in life to say, but here we are. We're going to get to it in any event. Jody Hildebrandt apparently has been explaining to people while she's in prison that the Book of Mormon has prophesied her being sent to prison because she wasn't sent to prison by a jury. She was sent to prison by God to spread the gospel. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. The judge cites language in the statute that bars communicating to or about an individual so as to cause the target to fear for his or her safety or suffer emotional distress. And Judge Scanchi ruled the First Amendment does not protect speech that meets the definition of stalking in the state statute. So basically now, this couple in Spring City has now had to file for an injunction against Ken Krogue, Tim Ballard's boy, who apparently ran the Spear Fund. Not exactly sure what state that is in now that the Tim Ballard Foundation is apparently back picking up all the business and operations of the Tim Ballard Secret Whiteboard meeting. As far as I know, the Spear Fund is practically defunct. Probably was just operating on Ken Krogue's money from InsideSales.com. Who can say though? I don't think that there's some, and I haven't come across any official documents on that yet. But we are going to come across a document. We are going to go through a document that I happen to procure through a mutual association. But David Hamblin is an interesting case. Let me just read a little bit here. Hamblin, his wife Roselle, and their 4 daughters became close friends with Joe and Lee Benyon and their 3 daughters. Again, these are the artists who live in Spring City, Utah, and apparently are leaders, allegedly, of the Church of Satan. Benyon says he and David Hamblin became like brothers. That is until 1999. Oh boy, here we go. That's when a young man named Brett Bluth telephoned Benyon and asked him to set up a meeting of him, his father, and Hamblin. Bluth said he had been in therapy with Hamblin years earlier, and during at least one session, Hamblin convinced him to perform a sex act on Hamblin, purportedly to help Bluth heal from trauma. You'll love to hear it. The Bluths asked Benyon to accompany them on their visit to Hamblin, which took place in Hamblin's office, located in his home in Provo. I was there to witness him being confronted, Benyon says. The victim wanted me there as a witness. His experience in the confrontation ended his relationship with Hamblin, Benyon says. In the next little while, I realized this friendship was over. He says he has not seen Hamblin since. If you didn't catch all of that, basically David Hamblin, who I'm going to show you his picture. I think I've uploaded it. If not, we'll upload it now. David Hamblin, who is inside the matrix here, very close inside the Matrix. Basically is a sex therapist who who lost his license, or maybe he didn't even have a license. I think he actually had a license at one point to practice and lost it. He basically performs spiritual exorcisms to rid you of the gay. So when you have if you get the gay, he can get it out of you, and that may or may not be in such a way as to connect him to your favorite godless spiritual leader. The shame. I'm proud of none of this. I'm proud of a little bit of it. In any event, 3 of David Hamlin's 4 daughters. Oh, wait a second. Yeah. 3 of David Hamlin's 4 daughters, Rachel, Eliza, and Catherine, who by then were adults, wrote so-called witness statements describing what they said had happened to them as children. This is allegedly at the hands of Joe Benyon and his wife, Lee. The combined documents came to 459 pages. The women turned the documents over to the Provo police. According to Prolix, is it Prolix? Let's say Prolix for now. I don't know. I'm a little embarrassed to say I don't know how to say this person's name, but this is their son-in-law who is the attorney. The statements were a classic case of so-called recovered memories, the notion that people may suppress memories. We talked about that. The witness statements, Prolix says, accused somewhere between 140 and 160 people of being involved in a wider sex ring. My understanding is that the Hamblin daughters have accused their father, their mother, and everybody else in the extended family, he says. In a moment, if I have it here, I think I have it. Oh, by the way, our man David Hamblin, handsome fucker. That's Joe Benyon, okay, in front of his kiln. They have a pottery business, and allegedly this kiln is a kiln that their children and other people apparently, as it is alleged, is where they would feed their victims, like Auschwitz style. No proof. Can't prove who it was. Can't say for sure who it was. But yeah, that apparently that happened. This is how they get caught up with Ken Krogue. Amen. In the first program, Alexia Preston says everything we're going to be presenting today has been substantiated. We have all the source documents here in the studio. Jason Preston states that what Jamin Darcy, is laying the case for is these people are getting away with it. They're being protected by the judicial system. Later, he says, this is not just a church. This is politicians. This is government. These guys have infiltrated government, attorneys, judges. I mean, this is a group of people that basically rule the state of Utah. And the program says Joe and Lee Benyon are among the most frequently mentioned CS, Church of Satan, members of the Hamblin witness statements. They allegedly participated in child assault and multiple murders involving child sacrifice, as well as killing of adults. In the second podcast, Darcy talks about the allegation in the Hamblin statements of a murder at the White Rock in Spring City and the purported disposal of the victim's body in Benyon's pottery kiln. He adds that the witness statements identify 17 homicides committed by the Spring City branch of the Church of Satan. There's probably more than 17 distinct homicides, but the girls only described 17 specific homicides. In the third podcast, the Prestons begin by saying, again, Darcy's claims are true. They report they've heard from many victims. Alexia Preston tells Darcy, I think you do an incredible job laying things out, explaining things, not making any assumptions, always backing it up with receipts. Jason Preston says, I've heard from people down Spring City and that area, and it's crazy that this stuff goes on. There's no accountability. On January 3rd, 2025, the Benyons filed a defamation or libel suit in 4th District Court in Utah County against We Are the People, including Jason and Alexia Preston. To win a defamation suit, one needs to prove that statements printed or published could be expected to harm the reputations of people's name. The plaintiffs must prove the statements are not true. In the suit, the Benyons cite 15 statements in the podcasts that they claim are false. In any event, so this is the story of how Ken Krogue comes to be involved with Joe Benyon. Apparently, they got involved in all of this. He got wrapped up in all of this. Let's get down to that part. The protesters include a man from Alamo, Nevada, who blew a shofar, a horn in the shape of a ram's horn, used in the Bible to sound a wake-up call to the Jews to mend their ways. A woman from Linden in Utah County who moderated a prayer vigil, and several Spring City residents, including Krogue. This is a protest at the pottery business of Joe and Lee Benyon. According to a petition the Benyons filed in 6th District Court seeking a civil stalking injunction, Krogue had a history with Jamin Darcy dating to shortly after he started his Substack. The petition states that in 2023, Krogue had asked Darcy to write an executive summary describing the involvement of Benyon, among others, with Satanism. About that time, multiple court documents assert Krogue channeled $20,000 to Darcy's operation. This is the guy allegedly who ran the Spear Fund for Tim Ballard. Apparently, just threw this guy 20 grand to get him to give him a little walkabout money while he puts together these accusations against this couple in Utah that they run the Church of Satan. The petition seeking injunction against Krogue cites a deposition Krogue gave under oath during fact gathering regarding the other petition, the one against Darcy. Despite prevarications by the respondent, Krogue, during the deposition as to his motivations for being involved in the request for and production of the executive summary, petitioners, the Benyons, alleged that the respondent was in fact intending by his conduct to induce the LDS Church to excommunicate petition Joe Benyon. While in Spring City, the protesters gathered 30 or 40 feet from the Benyon pottery shop. That's where Charlene Stott of Linden repeated allegations that the Benyons had been involved in satanic activity and that children had been sacrificed and their bodies burned in the pottery kiln. In the deposition Krogue gave when the Darcy stalking petition was before the court, he said as he heard about incineration of bodies, the Holy Spirit came upon him and commanded him to, quote unquote, dust your feet. According to the Benyon petition for a civil stalking injunction against Krogue, after the prayer group left the shop area, Krogue returned, stood on the threshold of the front door, and dusted both of his feet off with his hands. The act was captured on Benyon's Ring camera next to the door. Although the practice of dusting one's feet is not as common in the LDS Church today as it is in earlier times, the petition says it still symbolizes judgment or condemnation, placing the object of the dusting, quote, beyond what a practicing member of the LDS Church would consider redemption or forgiveness. Basically, it is a way of, this is a thing that gets talked about in hushed circles and hushed tones among Mormons still today, is that there is a very secret priesthood ordinance in which you can basically make somebody anathema. A priesthood holder can declare somebody damned to eternal damnation by simply dusting the dust off of his feet. And apparently that's what Ken Krogue did to this couple. In October 2024, Lee Benyon was outside the Benyon house and heard a drone hovering over their property. That was concerning, Prolix says, because Darcy has suggested his followers monitor properties with drones. In November 2024, someone drove over the Benyons' front lawn repeatedly with a truck, leaving tire tracks 2 to 3 inches deep. This is a statement from Joe Benyon. To my knowledge, there was never a satanic church or group in Spring City. I've never heard or seen anything about that. For 45 years, I've run my pottery shop there on Main Street, Benyon says, and I never locked the door. It was always open 24/7. I've had people come in and say, "Hey, thanks for being open. I realized the night before Mother's Day that I didn't have anything. I went in after midnight and was able to get something for my wife. That's all gone now. I've had to lock the doors. I have surveillance cameras up. It breaks a long-standing trust between me and my public." Yeah, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the story. So that's where we get the beginnings of this story about Ken Krogue. So you see this. This is the man himself, Mr. InsideSales.com slash spear fund slash financier or whatever. Um, okay, interesting. Okay, not sure who this person is, but all right, that's cool. That's cool. Welcome everybody. Everybody come and have a nice conversation. Everybody keep it cool. Keep it cool. Let's all be cool. Um yeah. In any event. I don't have any moderators. Everybody just be chill. In any event. Um but that's the beginning of the story, okay? Now I want to show you. I showed you that to show you this. Let me remove that. Um I'm gonna go ahead and share screen window. The share window? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Here, we're going to try this. Okay. Everybody see a PDF document? Probably, maybe, yes. You see a PDF document there? Maybe that helps. I don't know. Okay. So, what you're looking at here, let me just scroll up to the top, was procured thanks to a friend of mine over at American Law Journal. Any event, an associate of mine who I've been in contact with and graciously gave me access to this court document, Exhibit A, which is an excerpt transcript from Healthy World podcast, Jenny Hatch interview of Jamin Darcy, also known as Joel, 12/18, 2023. Okay, and this is pretty curious. I just want to get into to a few little snippets of this interview from this podcast. Let's see. Jenny Hatch asks, "I got to tell you, when you go quiet like you have for the last few weeks, I get a little antsy and nervous, wondering if you're okay. So you're okay, right?" Jamin Darcy, again, this is the Florida-based podcaster who is bringing these allegations against the Benyons based upon these statements collected from their kids and, yeah, from their children. And it says, "I'm okay. I had a document dump of about 3,500 pages related to Gordon Bowen's time in Chicago." Okay, so some names. Just recap the names: Ken Krogue, Tim Ballard's friend who ran his association or who ran the Spear Fund at one point. Not sure how connected he is with it. Was apparently connected in either running or being at the leadership also of Eternal Core. Eternal Core is that organization that Tom Harrison was running. That held a conference a couple years back where Tim Ballard and a lot of other people spoke about how Tom Harrison's ways of seeing the future and the glorious return of Christ and this big Armageddon and the end of that's going to usher in the end of the world, um, is all connected to this spiritual healing mechanism that has been so transformational in the lives of people like Ken Krogue and others. So in any event, so that was Ken Krogue. Tom Harrison is the Visions of Glory guy. Joe Benyon is pretty much nothing in the story. Just the poor guy got caught up in the middle of this because his kids say that he did these awful things that nobody can prove. Um, and then now you have this guy Gordon Bowen. Oh, and then of course you have David Hamblin, the guy who apparently could exorcise people from being from. Yeah. Anyways, he's a Mormon exorcist in effect. Okay. I promise this is coming back around to me and the weird way in which I am connected into this, which is just like, ugh, all the ick, but interesting. Uh, Darcy says, I had a document dump of about 3,500 pages related to Gordon Bowen's time in Chicago. And I had to go through those documents, and that's just a painstaking process. That what I've written about Bowen has primarily been concerned with his time in Salt Lake City and in New York City, to my understanding, would be the earliest set of documents related to his alleged misconduct over the years because it would date all the way back to the late 70s. However, I've had some concerns about that document dump because it's very hard to authenticate those documents. They did not come out of a FOIA or a GRAMA. GRAMA is the Utah version of a Freedom of Information Act request or anything like that. They were dumped on a Proton mail account that I use for sources, and I went through them, and I have ultimately come to the conclusion that they're a little too neat and tidy for me to believe that they're completely authentic. Jenny Hatch says, interesting. David Darcy says, I have inaudible on them. Jenny Hatch says, somebody's trying to derail your investigation with some bogus material, it sounds like. Damon Darcy says, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not. I mean, it could be partially true. It could be completely false. I don't know. But unless I'm totally comfortable with the material and I can authenticate it in terms of verifying where it came from, I won't publish it. Now, here's the thing. The material he's talking about is Gordon Bowen. Gordon Bowen. Gordon Bowen started an advertising agency called Bowen McGarry or McGarry Bowen. Bowen McGarry, I believe. That was something of a big deal. He was an advertising man, is an advertising man. He was a Fifth Avenue advertising guy with a long storied career. He came up with some of the campaigns you may have heard of from American Express and Disney and Coca-Cola. I mean, basically, this guy was like considered around the world as like a branding genius. And he's Mormon. All pretty innocent things. One of the official, semi-official clients, off on clients that he's had over the years, is the Mormon Church. And so when the church does major rebranding, it's generally considered that Gordon Bowen is involved somewhere, including its new rebranding to the tablet-shaped Christus thing with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints underneath it. Apparently was a Bowen innovation, for example. And many leaders in the Mormon Church are trying to tread softly on this because this is the guy that in the document we're reading from here, they're saying that the allegations against him are less credible, are not terribly credible compared to the ones against Joe Benyon and Lee Benyon, when they have failed in any way to corroborate any of the story around what happened with the Benyons. Meanwhile, more and more substance seems to be emerging now about allegations against this guy, Gordon Bowen. Because Gordon Bowen, I'm going to be very careful about this because we still can't prove much, allegedly was cured of being gay. So is not gay, according to him. So we'll go with it. But has gayness about him. And to keep from getting the gay, had that gayness exercised out of him, allegedly by David Hamblin, same guy that we're talking about here. and with this special Mormon exorcism system that they have used, which may be how all of this is connected back to me, weirdly enough. And no, it has nothing to do with the fact that I performed an exorcism while I was a missionary in Peru. Totally separate kind of exorcism. I invented that exorcism system, and it did not work, except for that the person that was exorcised apparently did feel like they were no longer possessed with a devil. So whatever. Devils aren't real. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so here's our. Let me just open this back up here. We can read a little bit more. Let's see here. But it's interesting that that's the guy that this guy Jamin Darcy is saying he's not really sure he believes all the allegations against this guy Gordon Bowen. It's very plausible that there's more to the story of the accusations against Gordon Bowen than anybody has known. Again, it's interesting that the critical thinking standards of some of these people believe things that are wild allegations over things that are completely plausible allegations, but it's curious. Jamin Darcy, referring to the executive summary, says basically an executive summary is like an overview of the case written for people who don't necessarily have any background or context to draw from. They're not familiar with the Hamblin case. So the first part of it was to give them a background of like the allegations against David Lee Hamblin over the years, and then to put two individuals who were the subjects of the two separate executive summaries into that context. Jenny Hatch says, "Are you open to sharing your executive summary publicly?" Jamin Darcy says, "Possibly in the future, but for now I'm trying to allow people who are interested in handling this and dealing with those people, getting them out of the church to do so. My preference would be to work internally within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I very much believe in the restored church. I have obviously some significant problems with how things have been handled over the years." Am I showing this to you guys? Okay, good. How things have been handled over the years as it pertains to ritual abuse and sexual impropriety. I definitely have a significant problem with the fact that Gordon Bowen is still allowed to associate with the church, but I do believe that you want to limit the collateral damage or fallout from this. And I'm not here to challenge the church's validity. I'm not here to challenge people's faith or belief in the church. I very much believe in the Book of Mormon. I very much believe in the Bible. I very much believe in Joseph Smith. And so I guess the contrast that I would draw, like John DeLynn is of Mormon stories, is clearly an apostate. He's been excommunicated as such. He challenges the essentials of the faith, such as the virgin birth, and so on and so forth. John DeLynn doesn't hold hard positions on just about anything. I just want to come up with that and say that John DeLynn wants to get as many interviews as he can to run his podcast because he's been doing this for over 20 years, guys. And people tune in to hear the controversy. That's what people like about Mormon stories. They have such they're so quick to take the Joseph Smith story at face value and then just believe everything that comes out of John DeLynn's mouth is an outright lie. It's wild. I am here to drive people out of the church who just simply do not belong because they don't keep their covenants and they're targeting and abusing children. So you see that basically all of this comes home to Mormon doctrine and these Mormon extremists. Jenny Hatch says, "So you said in this piece that you think Gordon Bowen is the one who passed the information along to Vice about Tim Ballard. Do you have proof of that? Can you share that proof?" Jamin Darcy says, "I didn't say that he was the one who passed it along. I said he was the one that drafted this statement." So you see this. Yeah. We're bringing it all together. It's all coming back to the matrix. So, according to these allegations, again, who knows how much of this is true. Jenny Hatch says, "Well, that's what I mean. He drafted the statement." Jamin Darcy says, "Yeah, I am absolutely 100% confident at this juncture that he did, that Gordon Bowen was the one who passed on this information about Tim Ballard." Again, this is when Tim Ballard was getting kicked out of Operation Underground Railroad, allegedly. And and Vice News was running articles about how, like they had been for a long time, following up on Lynn Packer's work, that everybody associated with Operation Underground Railroad would find out at some point, figure out that they lied about everything. They never rescued any children, that their allegations about Tim Ballard's stories were all lies, that Tim Ballard was not only a liar, that he induced other people to lie. And so it's yeah, yeah, yeah. Aunt Merrill says Jamin Darcy is not reliable. No, he's not. But to say the least, to say the least. But he was. Do I need to apparently keep people kick people off? Uh, do I? I've never banned somebody. Do I have to do that? I don't want to have to ban anybody. I don't like doing that. But keep it cool. Keep it cool, friends. Um. Anyway, so no, Jamin Darcy is not reliable. However, Gordon Bowen is definitely dirty. There. I mean, look. Again, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but the longer I live and breathe is the more that this guy that they're talking about, Gordon Bowen, it actually does seem is dirty in this whole system. And it's too Epstein Island like to be ignored. While all these allegations about satanic ritual abuse are going around, there's actual abuse of people happening. There's actual trafficking happening. There's a guy who pleaded guilty to trafficking who is now no longer among us. There is there are presidents of the United States and former presidents of the United States now having to give depositions explaining their associations with that person and their network of persons. There's a whole document dumps with millions of pages of documents. I mean, there are things that actually happen, and those are the things that people who are into conspiracy theories tend to not want to believe, because they want to believe the ones that make it about Satan. And it's like, this isn't about Satan, dude. Satan's got nothing on this situation. Anyway, how did that just barely become midnight? Did I lose an hour somewhere? I lost an hour somewhere. Anyway, so this is where we are. Okay. Anyway. Jenny Hat says, let's see. Good to know. I read that and I was like, okay, I've heard this rumor. So, yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, so while Vice News was running was running articles about Operation Underground Railroad, the church apparently was contacted and they issued a rare statement, which they're actually issuing more statements now, curiously enough. It's about time the church started to get into the fray on this and actually make a stand about what's going on inside the fringes of their own movement. I actually think it's a good thing, personally, but the church made a statement condemning Tim Ballard's behavior as immoral. Jamie Darcy says, I absolutely 100% confident at this juncture that he did. I have multiple sources who have confirmed that the church retained him to draft that statement. And the church was quite pleased with the statement. Obviously, they used it, but yeah, I'm 100% certain that they retained him to write that statement that came out about Tim Ballard and his immoral activities. Jenny Had says, good to know. I read that and I was like, okay, I've heard this rumor, but I guess now it's solid. Damon Darcy says, "Yeah, I would say it's solid. As I said, I wouldn't have printed it if I didn't believe it was the truth. So yeah, I mean the church. One of the most disturbing things to me is the fact that the church retains Gordon Bowen for marketing and branding issues. They consult with him and on messaging, even though he has been excommunicated since 2003 and has never been rebaptized, has never made any sort of repentance for his various misconduct over the years. And I think some of them still go to his parties," Jenny Hatch says. Damon Darcy says, "Yes, they do. I mean, I'm aware of 4 who allegedly go to his house, and I have, confirmation of that from people who would know." Jenny Hatch says, "Well, one of the things I read before you came on the show was the passage in Victim Statement 2, where the Hamblin girls were taken to his house. And I read in gross details, this is the daughters of David Hamblin. This is the sex therapist who allegedly did sex acts to cure people of sex um, irregularities by his doctrine and ideas. And I read in gross detail about what happened to those girls in that house. This is Gordon Bowen's house. Jamin Darcy says, yeah, they were taken to his house on 2 separate occasions, and they alleged that they were assaulted and ritualistically tortured, and in pretty graphic detail. They also alleged that they saw the bodies of corpses and the flayed skins of victims of Gordon Bowen. And they were threatened that if they ever talked about being in his home or what happened to them, that they would potentially be killed themselves. And I confirmed that I'm a second witness to these types of torture techniques and threats because I experienced them myself in the Church of Satan that exists in the Detroit area. And so for those people who say, oh, this is not a thing, I am a first person account, and these similar things happened to me. I'm sorry, that's Jenny Hatch who's saying that. Damon says, uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're talking about 175 people who came forward in the Utah County Sheriff's Office investigation. And then on my end, I have another 96 people who have not talked to the Utah County Sheriff's Office. Jenny Hatch says 96 people who are completely separate from that first 150. So we're talking like 250 people about. Jamin Darcy says, talking about anywhere from 25 to 280 people. Yes. Jenny Hatch says, and have these people express to you why they haven't gone to the police yet. Jamin Darcy says, well, many of them say that they have gone to the police in the past and have been escorted out of the station, that the police would not even take a report. And that's in multiple jurisdictions. So you're running into a situation where a lot of these victims have a severe issue with trusting the police, and they have a severe issue with believing that the police are going to do anything substantive about the allegations that they're making. And to be fair to law enforcement, I mean, it's extremely difficult to prove these kinds of allegations. Well, at least they went that far. Jenny Hatch says, yeah, something inaudible back in my case that happened 50 years ago. Jamin says, yeah, I mean, there's the time that has elapsed. There is usually a lack of physical evidence. And then on top of it, you have a situation where the victims themselves have been severely mentally damaged over the years as a result of the abuse that they have suffered. So they have things in their past that don't make them optimum witnesses. Jenny Hatch says, yeah, have you crossed paths with any of those people who might be interested in coming on my podcast, even coming on anonymously to share their stories? Jamin Darcy says, well, I've been talking to a lot of them for the better part of a year and 4 months, and they don't want to come on a podcast that I do. They trust me enough to talk to me at length about what they've experienced, and it is, to me, I don't push people to do. Okay, so in any event, so they get into more about David Hamblin and so on and so forth. I didn't see anything else about Tim Ballard. Let's just do a quick one. I don't remember if it's been a couple days since I got into this. Yeah, I don't see anything else. I might have to do a it's weird that I'm not getting anything about Ballard in the search here. I might have to do an OCR of the whole document. You guys don't know. This is a good thing to know. I learned while doing legal work um, for an attorney. You can, if you have Adobe Acrobat, you can tell it to do OCR. Now, usually, if you can highlight text, that means the text should be searchable. But I'm not getting that for some reason. So, but you can actually tell it to OCR, which means object, uh, objective, no, optical character recognition, and say all pages, recognize text, boom, boom, boom. And it starts the process of reading the whole document as if it were a pair of eyeballs reading it. But in any event, there's tons of pages, just pages and pages and pages of documents related to this, to these exhibits in the case with the Benions, related to the Benions. But um, it's going to go on with that, and we're not. So we'll have to come back to that on another day because I want to explain more to you about how all these people wind up fitting into the Epstein Ballard matrix, including me. All right, here we go. Okay, so this, as you guys can see, nope. Can you guys see? You guys can see? All right. Forgive me. This so as you if you don't know, you can find this at, let's see, I have it here. Korihor.org/ Epstein Ballard. That is the web address published on at least temporarily on our website, where you can go and see the application that I have made, where we are tracking the mutual associations of Tim Ballard and Jeffrey Epstein. Just zoom in real quickly so we can refresh ourselves here. So you have Tim Ballard here. You have Eduardo Verostegui is a person we've been looking at for a while, keeps coming up in the mutual association. You have Jeffrey Epstein over here. Now, so far, the closest we get on Tim Ballard is 2 degrees of separation with Jeffrey Epstein. And frankly, some of that is characters that, well, okay, that could be like tons of people, specifically Donald Trump, and also apparently Alan Dershowitz. That it was the point where we found out that Alan Dershowitz, the attorney, famous attorney, was a mutual association. That I said, okay, well, apparently we do need to go over how many people does Tim Ballard know who know Jeffrey Epstein, and how many people are otherwise within 2 degrees of separation, and we can start putting together how it is that Tim Ballard, who was disgraced and frankly unable to thrive in any of this environment after his fall from grace, suddenly is back in the public eye, and apparently is continuing to claim that he's not only tracking back to his anti-trafficking work, but now that the Mormon Church definitely isn't going to allow him back after they've excommunicated him, he's out there to expose all of this satanic panic stuff that he was covering up for while he was a member of the Mormon Church, which inadvertently confesses, I'd say, what we've known for a long time, which is that you have these people who make whole careers out of uh, anti-trafficking, supposedly, and or protecting and serving the community, who it turns out are covering up for a church that has its own abuses to address. And so now the Pace Memorandum, I can't tell you for sure that I know that it is all BS. What I can tell you is, so far they've failed to substantiate anything happening in there. But that doesn't mean abuse isn't happening. And it doesn't mean that ritual abuse isn't happening. It just means that there's things that get covered up. And then there are other things that are being manufactured to, not necessarily to distract, but just because people are so desperate to find out what the reality is. But if you believe that the world is made up between forces of good and evil, and that there are spiritual evil forces in the world at play, you're going to be prone to believe the stories that involve, well, and they're doing it all for the devil. In any event, so here's the story. Here's where we are over here. I mentioned Tom Harrison of Eternal Core is also apparently the author or the source of the book Visions of Glory. Around here, you're going to see several characters that you with names you might recognize. You have Lori Vallow Daybell, Chad Daybell, Jody Hildebrand. You have David Levitt, another character in the story we don't really have much time for. You're going to see Joe Rollins. So this is your man Exmo Joe. That's me. I'm right there. You're also going to see Julie Rowe as a curious character. Let's come back to that here in a second. You have David Hamlin, we were just talking about. That's the sex therapist who apparently can quit you of the gay using a special ceremony of some kind of Mormon exorcism ceremony, like he apparently did for Gordon Bowen, who's over here. That's our branding and marketing guy. And then all of these people are circulating around Tom Harrison, and whose close associate is Ken Krogue. Again, Mr. Shake the Dust off his feet guy, all in one group. And here's how it connects. A mutual association of mine in recent online conversations. I'm just going to preface this by saying this, I'm a little reluctant to go far with this. Not for my sake, but for the sake of a person I am worried it may be a fairly innocent association of mine. If he isn't an innocent association of mine, then I will happily denounce him and disavow him and my connection to him. But at this point, I just don't know how much of the allegations around him have anything to do with him. And I have, at least on some occasion, had the benefit. I'm trying to be very careful not to reveal things that I'm not in a position to reveal and that I don't know are true. That this person may be in over their head and caught up in something from which they are entirely innocent. Not that they are an innocent person in every way. That's cryptic, but that's as close as I can get. To the best of my knowledge, this person is not guilty of anything illegal. To the best of my knowledge, this person has not hurt children in any way. To the best of my knowledge, this person may, in fact, according to mutual associations I have with this person may be disaffected from the Mormon Church, specific, and from some of the characters that you're going to hear in here. I don't know that to be true, though, so I don't want to state that it is true. Okay. I guess this is the point where I just tell you who that person is. Jesus, don't intervene. All right. That person is Bradley Nelson. That's the guy you're going to see over here. His flag is being hidden by mine. Oh, no. Yeah, but his node is here. Okay, so this is Bradley Nelson. You may know Brad Nelson as the author of The Body Code or The Emotion Code. People who attend his conferences, buy his seminars, and go through his certifications can pay up to thousands and thousands of dollars to be certified by this guy who is a chiropractor based out of Southern Utah. Before I go even one word further in this, one of the nicest people I've ever met, a person I spent quite a bit of time talking to while we were working together. In 2013, you're going to see this if you click on my node, which is hidden here right now, so I can't really. Oh no, there it is. Okay, let me just read it. Okay, Alias Exmo Joe shot event videos for Bradley Nelson of the emotion code at an event in Midway, Utah, in the summer of 2013. That's my association. Previously, I had put a note in here for Exmo Joe that said Exmo Joe is Exmo Joe. He has nothing to do with anything. Mind your own damn business. But now I can't get away with that. Um, now I just have to say, yeah, no, I'm in there too. Um, I did in 2013 shoot a weekend conference with Bradley Nelson and shot two camera basic shoot of this guy doing 2 or 3 sessions a day until he was exhausted, practically having to peel himself off the floor, training people how to do muscle testing. Allegedly, from what I understand, Julie Rowe is a practitioner of Brad Nelson's emotion code and body code. A lot of people are. If you ask around in the energy healing world, these people are very common. Uh, does not mean that you know Julie Rowe is a pretty controversial person inside the Mormon prepper world. She has made some pretty interesting claims about the world. I have never heard Bradley Nelson say anything like what this person says. That being said, I don't know if Brad Nelson knew that I was an atheist when he started working with me. He never asked me, and frankly, I don't think he cares. Um, Apparently, David Hamblin, I am hearing through a mutual association, is also one of these practitioners of the body code and emotion code. Can't confirm that with anything in documentation yet, but from what I understand, he is also part of that, and that Tom Harrison either believes in Brad Nelson's system and or is an associate with Brad Nelson. Again, I don't have any documentation to prove that. I am just hearing that these are the circles. They're basically swimming in the same circles, very closely knit to each other. Whether or not they personally know each other, I couldn't say. Very plausible. A lot of these people are people who live in southern Utah, which is where I'm going back to on the 26th or thereabouts, by the way, to continue the work out there. Um, and then also maybe that this same process, something to do with the emotion code or body code, is how David Hamblin may apparently have treated Gordon Bowen, who is, again, this Mormon marketer guy, who apparently had allegations are that he would have children over to his house who now can testify, including David Hamblin's own children, that who have stated, at least gone on the record to state, that they witnessed ritual abuse at the hands of Gordon Bowen and his associates there in Utah. Apparently, he was cured of his non-gayness by using something like the body code. It would not surprise me that what they're actually doing is Tom Harrison's process. Tom Harrison allegedly has ways of helping to keep you from getting the gay and to quit so-called porn addiction, sex addiction, things like this. Again, you're talking about a handful of disgraced former therapists who can't practice anymore, specifically because of this religious quackery they're engaged in. And now Brad Nelson, as far as I know, is still a licensed and practicing chiropractor. He's never been a therapist that I know of. He's never claimed that I have seen to be able to treat anybody as a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Again, I only knew him. I've only talked to him a few weeks, had a couple of email exchanges entirely related to business, apart from a long conversation that we had more than once about editing in Final Cut and hosting platforms and the different for video hosting. And I will say, of people I have talked to, I have met few people who were as personable and kind. Of clients I have had very few clients who paid me on time like he did, and with as constructive of feedback into my work, because I both shot this 2-day seminar and also edited the seminar and built him DVDs for the seminar, masters for his seminar, which these people paid thousands of dollars to fly out to Midway, Utah, which is an interesting place in of itself, and attend this event. Um, and attend this event where they basically learn to do muscle testing to figure out physical and spiritual maladies in your body. And if you don't know muscle testing, this is how it is. This is how it goes. Let me just be let me just catch up here. Okay. Yes, emotion code. Oh, okay. See ya. See ya, friends. Those who have to go. I get it. It is late. I just want to capture this part for those who are interested. So, if you don't know about muscle testing, the idea effectively is, as I understand it, goes like this. Uh, all the energy in the world, in the universe, is cannot be created or destroyed. It all got set in motion with the moment of creation, whether you call that the Big Bang or whatever. For those people who are going to clip this, I don't believe that. That's bullshit. It's not true. Um, it's not true. I did not. Fans of the room will get it. Um, I did not. Um, I just Tommy Wiseau'd in the middle of a podcast. Um, the idea here is that all energy in the universe, no energy can be created or destroyed. It just gets repackaged and redirected in different ways. Totally not true. But the idea is that energy continuing on is the creative force of the universe, because it is effectively the voice of God saying, "Let there be light," and "Let there be everything else." And so, because it is the voice of God, it is truth. And that energy, and all energy, has truth embedded in it. And so, that truth in this metaphysical level can manifest to you the very voice of God. It's a metaphysical quackery that, frankly, I think Joseph Smith would have loved. So, these people aren't crazy in believing that this is something Joseph Smith would either did engage in or would have engaged in. It's not crazy. That's Joseph Smith did a lot of weird stuff. And so have a lot of Mormons over the years, including the Lafferty brothers. You ever see the television series, or more importantly, read the book by Jack Krakauer, Under the Banner of Heaven? You get a little bit more into this information. There's a reason why a lot of people who left the Mormon Church before the CES letter left, because of Under the Banner of Heaven. But basically, the idea is this: all this energy in the universe is in everything in the universe, including in you and in your muscles. And so your muscles carry the truth, carry God's truth in them. And so if you like put your arm out and ask a yes or no question, if the answer to that question is yes, and somebody presses down on your arm has more, your muscles have more energy in them, and so your arm stays up. But if the answer to the question is no, then when you press down on it, you'll get resistance, but it can't hold it up. Now, now any person applying a little bit of critical thinking skills is going to look at that and go, I don't buy. I think it's going to go like, okay, you guys got to do what you got to do, but and I don't want to diss your spiritual tradition here, but this is based on bad science. It's very clear that you're getting either getting confirmation bias, where you're not getting a where you're not getting psychosomatic response. So they have an answer for that, like they do to everything. Who am I to say? Maybe I'm even wrong. Maybe they're right and I'm wrong. But uh, so basically, Brad Nelson uses this muscle testing, which a lot of people believe in, and a lot of people I have met do this thing. I don't buy it, but a lot of them do it, and a lot of chiropractors. I mentioned Under the Banner of Heaven, the Lafferty brothers who ended up murdering their sister-in-law and her small baby, her small child, because she resisted their scheme to restart Mormon polygamy in their family, at least, and get their brother, who, as I understand it, actually is who is not well. At least last I heard of him, he was not well and is physically unwell, and was looking and at long last may actually be practicing polygamy after all, and believes he is the next prophet. Whatever. In any event, and that was the good brother, supposedly. His brothers are in prison. I think one of them has passed now. Yeah, one of them passed a while ago, and they were chiropractors, Mormon chiropractic kind of a thing. Again, then there are plenty of good Mormons. There are plenty of good chiropractors who are good people. And as far as I know, Brad Nelson's one of them. And he is my associate. So just a real quick recap here before we move on to our next subject. If you are curious about your man, Joe Exmo Joe, I am. And this is a very poorly written explanation of my associations into the Epstein-Ballard matrix so far. Joe Rollins is connected to Brad Nelson, who is connected to Julie Rowe, who is connected to Tom Harrison, who is connected to Tim Ballard. 4 degrees to Tim Ballard. It burns. Joe Rollins is connected to Brad Nelson, who's connected to Julie Rowe, who's connected to Tom Harrison, who's connected to Tim Ballard, who's connected to Donald Trump, who is a former associate of Jeffrey Epstein. 6 degrees to Jeffrey Epstein. It hurts, but I guess it's true. I am, so far as I know, 4 degrees to Tim Ballard, 6 degrees to Jeffrey Epstein. That could be just about anybody on this planet. It's curious. It was a curious thing. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, muscle testing is pretty common in a lot of modalities. I don't buy it for a second. I've known a lot of people who are into it, so I don't try to make. I know a lot of people who are into muscle testing never murdered their children or their spouse. I know a lot of people who are into muscle testing and never practiced, as far as I know, satanic rituals or accused anybody else of practicing satanic rituals. However, most of the people I know who believe in satanic rituals do believe in things like muscle testing. So the one thing is not, these are not mutually exclusive. And so, let that be what it may. How much of the body code, emotion code is involved in this? And frankly, how much responsibility can somebody like Brad Nelson bear for these things being taught and believed by his followers, or being taught and believed by people he's certified? The man's making money. He's doing what he can to run a business. And whether, how clean or dirty his business is, I don't know. But as far as I know, the guy paid me on time. He followed through on everything that he promised to do. I could follow through on what I promised to do. And since then, we have had a couple of email exchanges. I went up through my emails with him just the other day, which was mainly, hey, here's an associate who's interested in meeting you. Not sure if you're interested in that. And a reply from him saying, cool, thanks for that. Hey, it's great to hear from you. Again, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. And I did hear a rumor through a mutual friend of ours a few years ago that said that that Dr. Nelson had been excommunicated from the church, and or that he had left the church. I don't know that to be the case. If it's true, good for you, man. Me too. Long time ago, but whatever. As a matter of fact, it was that year. It was that summer I was excommunicated from the church. The year that I did that that show with Dr. Nelson. But apropos of nothing, I'd been out of the church mentally. I had been telling people I was ex-Mormon and atheist for 10 years by that point. So, um, in any event, so that's how your man is associated with that. Do you feel dirty as fuck now? Should we do something else? So yeah, this Gordon Bowen thing, though, you mark my words, that's going to come back. The associations with Gordon Bowen. This guy, I don't trust him. And David Hamblin the same. You get into this David Hamblin and David Levitt. David Levitt? Is it David Levitt? You get into the Hamblin and Levitts and Lees and these groups, these Mormon families, political families, and there are wild stories. We'll have to do a wild story just about the Levitts. The Levitts are like are crazy, a crazy story in and of themselves, basically. The Lees are especially a crazy story. John D. Lee, the guy who took the fall on behalf of Brigham Young for the Mountain Meadows massacre. His family is the same family as Mike Lee, Utah Senator Mike Lee, and they're connected into so much stuff, the wild, crazy stuff. You wouldn't even believe it. Like, you just go through that family alone, and the amount of crazy that there is there. Udall Lee, thank you, Huggy, which is interesting because actually one of the more interesting and I think one of the more compelling characters in Utah, not in Utah politics, but in Mormon politics and history, was a man named Mo Udall. If you're familiar with the story of Mo Udall, I've said for a long time his story would make an excellent movie. Mo Udall was a one-eyed Navy veteran basketball player who was also the senator from the state of Colorado. And I think his sons and or nephews are senators and or Congress people. I mean, it's a fascinating story, the Udalls. But yes, the Udall Lee family is very closely connected, and as I understand it, very closely connected with the Marriotts and or the help me out here, guys. Romneys. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth. Let's look at something more. Let's look at something else for a bit, because this got dark in a hurry. At the Church of Korihor, we are a spiritual community for godless people. One of the things that we've been very concerned about, and that I am very concerned about as the spiritual leader of this godless community, is social media and how social media is disrupting and destroying our lives. And particularly how billionaires and corporations are destroying our lives and creating spiritual blockages or blockage of our, yes, we eat all the incoming members. Yes, we do. And they love it. Let me show you. One of the reasons why one of the things that I think we as human beings hate about social media is the fact that we are giving our money, we are all the time selling our attention to corporations. And if you sell your attention, even for a small price, to corporations, what you're going to end up with is corporations not giving a shit that what they're producing is making you depressed. And scientific study after study has been produced showing that when we get on Instagram, when we get on Facebook, when we get on Pinterest, when we get on these social media apps, we start to feel disconnected. We start to feel sold out. We start to feel ingenuine. We start to feel fake. We start to feel depressed. and we start to we know that it creates body image issues with especially teenagers. It is a scourge on our society, and not to mention the fact that it's being run by billionaires, again, who will abuse us all. They will Epstein Island all of us if they could make a buck off of it. And uh, and they're allowing bots to basically run the platforms. They could kick them out. They don't want to because they want to create fake engagement to keep us more engaged. It's a huge problem. So what do we do about it? That's good. That's good. Thank you, Derek. That's giving us great, great feedback. I love the constructive feedback. What do we do about it? I love that attitude. I say, let's do this. Let's create an actual social media network that's run by a nonprofit organization that has the same excitement that there once was on smaller platforms before they had that profit motive to sell advertising. All of these social media networks, it's the moment where they started to sell advertising that small creators couldn't make it on there, and people who were using social media to change their life, like you saw with Instagram at one point, you saw with TikTok at one point, you saw with Pinterest at one point, that small creators could change their life and start selling either products from their Etsy shop or their, or personal things. People could get references to jobs, and people could post about how they are not, they're not making it financially, or they're trying to get out of a bad relationship, they're trying to get into their own place or what have you, and people would donate and give them gifts and things. Small creator communities where people get that good feeling of being able to help out somebody in need, either by at least liking, commenting, providing words of encouragement, support, acknowledging and validating what they're going through, following up with them, checking in on them, or on occasions, maybe buying something that they have to sell, buying their art, buying the products that they sell, or buying their book, subscribing to their podcast, helping them out in whatever way they could. That small creator network doesn't exist where the profit motive exists. So I happen to be pretty good at vibe coding. I've gotten good at it over the past year or so that I've been experimenting with it, as you saw with the Epstein-Ballard matrix, which is not my best work. My best work is this that I've been working on for a while. Share screen. Hopefully this works. I've not tried to show this. Okay. So the thing that we're going to look at here, let me go ahead and go back all the way out. Hopefully, so the app that you're going to see here, yes, I know up in the upper right hand corner, you guys can see this, right? Yeah, I know that. Let's see if I can get this to zoom in a little bit. Did that zoom in when I do that? This works in any web browser. Is that helping? Yeah. This should work in any web browser, including on your mobile device. The website address, it's not supposed to be showing that. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this to reload. It's not supposed to be showing the tiers. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Oof. That was close. Yeah, so now you're seeing it as it appears on the desktop app. Maybe we can get that. Maybe I can change that here in a minute so you can see it the way it looks like on a mobile device. In any event, if you go to it on your mobile device, you get to see it on your mobile device. But in any event, this is the app where we'll be able to manage all of the church's business, but also where people can join and have fun in an environment where there are no bots, no billionaires, and no bullshit. That's what we're calling it, the way we're saying it right now. we'll see if it actually works. Um, you can't join the actual app yet. Oh, look at that. It's not supposed to show you that. But you can join the beta. Let me just go ahead and take that back here. That's as soon as we're done here, disable that join us button for now. Uh, but you can join the beta by entering in your name and your email address to say, I'm interested in getting an invite to the beta. We are doing our first beta group, launching our first beta group on Sunday. It's going to be pretty podunk while we're kicking the tires, but I want to show you how cool what we already have is. I'm going to go ahead and sign in, my username and password. This is what the app looks like when you first load it up. Okay, good. It did load it up in the mobile interface. So it looks like this inside the actual, even in a desktop app. If I click over here on this exit mobile mode, it takes me to a full screen mode. But I like to use this just because most people will be using the app on their mobile devices. So this is how I like to demonstrate what it looks like. So this is my U page, my U screen. As you use the app, you're going to see here, it's going to log you in. It has your ID card here. In the future, this will be something that people can share with other people, especially if you become ordained in the Church of Korihor as a luminary, not something everybody's required to do. By the way, joining this, you'll be able to join the app for free. You can also join as a contributor, which means simply that you are just a user who also donates to support, donates $48 per year to start, or you as a VIP, which at this point is going to be $48 per month to support the work of the Church of Korihor. You'll have access to a few more features than people who are signing up for free, but for the large part, it's going to be an app where people sign up for free. Over time, if you want to donate to the Church of Korihor, we'll take it. But for the most part, it's going to be a place where small time creators will have a platform where they can say, look, I'm in a bad situation in my life, or I'm trying to get off the ground. I'm trying to get into a better situation. I'm trying to create something better for myself, pay for medical treatment that I need, or that my kid needs, or something like that. Those are the people who will get approved for ads on the network, and everybody else will just use it for fun. And we'll use it for fun. And when you see ads, they're, instead of being ads to support a corporation, they're going to be ads to help somebody out who's in need. And as we get more people on the platform, my vision is one day, you'll easily be able to say, let's get 1,000 people to give $5 to help this person out. Let's pitch in $2, so we can help out a person. Why give your attention and money to a corporation or a billionaire who doesn't need it? Give it to people. Let's do this to take care of each other. It's also how we're going to connect mutual aid networks. People who are raising food for immigrants who can't go, who are afraid to go out. People who are trying to help, a single mom who's trying to get a car, so that she can go get her kids to and from school and go to work and get, apply for jobs and things. Any of these situations, as you can imagine them, we're, instead of competing with those mutual aid groups and mutual aid networks, let's start networking with them. We're already engaging in it. And ordained luminaries for the Church of Korihor, people ask me, what will ordained godless clergy do in your godless church? I say, we're going to go out there and we're going to build associations with the people who are already doing the work. And we're going to say, what do you need? How can we do it? And then when we're not doing that, we're going to go out there and we're going to put boots on the ground and we're going to do the work ourselves. So that's what we're doing here at the Church of Korihor. And the Korihor app is going to be a fun way to do that together. As you're going through, you're going to see that there are little ads that pop up for things like Do You Overview. Overview is our meditation app that's not working at the moment, but we're working on it. You're going to see little ads for things like this. This healing starts with deconstructing, right? That is, this is going to become a a feature where it prompts you through a process of journaling and doing a spiritual and emotional well-being healing process that gives you a little keepsake that you can download to your device that saves on your device and that you can choose to share with the world through your profile on your Korihor profile, or you can share it in one of our groups, which are called missions. Those are our congregations. Or you can send it to somebody and, you can post it anywhere. So it just generates that, saves it on your device. You can keep it for yourself. You can share it how you want to share it. That'll be a feature that we develop along the way. Also, uh, if you are walking the path of reason, or this is really the fellowship path, is what it'll be called, or doing any kind of training, it gives you updates on your feed of where you are in the training process as you complete things. It will update the progress. This is very rudimentary, but basically, if you're going to be ordained to the Church of Korihor, you're going to need to pass. For example, there will be one of these certifications for, um, becoming certified as a wedding officiant or a death doula or a death officiant or a funeral officiant, excuse me. As you get training, we'll be able to show anybody who wants to see, you'll be able to show anybody who wants to see that actually I am actually trained in how to do this. I am an actual spiritual leader and actually perform sacraments for the Church of Korihor, things like that. But you'll also be able to just do shadow work for you, and it gives you updates about it here in the app. But for the most part, I think people will use it kind of like Instagram. So, for example, this is an image post, what an image post looks like. It's posted on my account. And you'll see if I click on this beautiful picture of this woman, this is a painting. Uh, you'll see that it pops up in the corner over here with 1 out of 3. And it gives me this image, a closer look at this image. I can zoom in. If I were on the device, I could zoom in and out just like you can in any other application. But I can also swipe up, and it takes me to more images in my feed. It skips over all the other posts and just goes to images. So similar to an Instagram type of experience, I can go through images that are on the app. Okay. And so in this case, I've only got 3 that load into my feed. There's not a lot of content on here yet. So that's a quick overview of how to interact with the posts. You can also click on anybody's name, and it comes up with, this is all dummy content, except for my page. It comes up with a brief description of who this person is. If they have a role in the Church of Korihor, it's there. And it also comes up with things like certifications. Like this is a certificate of ordination for Marcus, fake person. There's also a certificate of conversion showing that he is a fellow in the Church of Korihor, etc. And then, of course, you can also click on that person themselves. Click on View Profile to go to that person's feed, and you can see all of their posts. And then, of course, you can always go back to your feed. So yeah, and then every once in a while, it comes up with these caring posts. This is where the ads are going to be that you're going to see. That is, occasionally it's going to pop up with maybe a video or just an image that says, Julie is in a bad situation where she's trying to get her life back on track. We're all going to pull around her and strengthen her and help her out. She's got this great book that she's just released. If you want to support Julie, go buy her book and leave her a review if you like it, something like that. That'll be here also. But then also over time, we'll have more and more posts that'll be like, hey, did you know that you can use the Korihor app to do this and that? And we're going to be coming out with a lot more features for the Church of Korihor, but also just features in which we can build community, have fun, do everything that you do on social media, including eventually there will be more video-based features similar to like TikTok or YouTube Shorts, and also some video on demand services similar to YouTube. Probably more similar to uh, probably more. I'd say you probably think of it more similar to like a Netflix. As we get more and more people and we get more and more donations coming in, we'll be able to do more and more, and include more and more features. And we'll be collecting information, suggestions from people, ordinary people who use the app, for what you would like to see. And the idea here is to create an ad-free experience all about building community, enjoying the things you love, enjoying them as a community, keeping yourself safe, keeping your emotional development moving in a positive direction, and making positive choices for yourself. To wit, if you swipe right on that feed, it loads the serve page. This doesn't work yet. It looks like it works, but it doesn't quite work yet. But basically, this is where you're going to find all of the missions, and eventually you'll also find all of the training that's available, for those people who join the Church of Korihor, or want to attend our services and congregations. There's going to be, for example, a mutual aid network mission. You can join that if you want to get involved in mutual aid. Reason and science. You're a person who loves reason and science. You can join and get involved in conversations, regular conversations. Those are missions of the Church of Korihor. Hellfire Agency, which is what you're observing here, is our podcast. That's a mission of the Church of Korihor. The Luminary Council, which is people either who have been ordained as luminaries in the Church of Korihor, or are currently in the process of becoming ordained to the Church of Korihor, will be able, or to as clergy for the Church of Korihor, will be able to join that mission. Again, this doesn't work quite yet. I've been working on this U feed, which, by the way, I can get back to by swiping left. Again, I got to this by swiping right. By swiping right. It works better on the mobile device, which is good because that's pretty much how most people are going to use it. And then there are going to be regional missions. One of the most common questions I get about the Church of Korihor is there a congregation I can attend, or can I start a congregation of the Church of Korihor? We have people in the Midwest who are really interested in it. We've got people up in the Pacific Northwest who are interested in starting regional missions. We have people out in the West Coast, in California, who are interested. So as we get this feature going, we're going to start ordaining people across the country to become luminaries who are in charge of regional missions of the Church of Korihor, and ordaining those people. Oh, by the way, at any point in time, if you want to post something, that's what that little button is down there. You can post to your profile or to any of the missions that you belong to, and you can edit your posts. That's something that took Jack Dorsey and freaking Elon Musk like 25 years to create. I built it in our platform in like 5 minutes. It cost me less than $4. We're just that good. Vibe coding is powerful, man. Also, you have bold, italic, and strike through, and hashtags are all things that you can can add on here, and you can hit add images and actually upload images, up to 6 images at a time at this point, to your feed, or you can add it to any of your missions. Why it's not populating my missions, I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look into that. But any event, so when you click on serve, that's where you're going. That's what you'll be able to see there. If you swipe right again, it takes you to play. There's nothing there yet. I want you to use your power of imagination here to envision what'll be here. What's going to be here is going to be a video on demand service where you can watch live content from the Church of Korihor, but you can also go and watch podcast episodes of Hellfire Agency. You'll be able to watch documentaries, movies, TV shows. I can envision sometime in the future, 5, maybe 10 years from now, there are whole productions that are made like a miniature Netflix just for Korihorites. Well, we call ourselves Korihors, but also people who are just interested in it in our community and want to have fun and want to enjoy good quality content. It doesn't necessarily have to be connected with atheism, doesn't have to be connected with ex-Mormonism or ex-evangelicalism, you know, but though certainly it could be. But we could also just create, we can put anything we want up here. And people who are in the community, they'll be the ones deciding what's going to go in here. You'll be the ones helping us through this. Now, all throughout this process, all of this is going to be curated by the clergy of the Church of Korihor and by high trust members who are on the app, using the app. I'm still working out how exactly that's going to work, but basically the vision I have for it right now is if you have a good eye for content that people like, and you have a good eye for vouching for people who are good at creating content and being aware of what is healthy and safe for the community, your trust profile will grow inside the app. And at some point, you will be selected from time to time if you want to be. If you agree to it, you will be selected to be a juror. And as a juror, what's going to happen is when there are issues that we, as the heralds, go, you know what, that's not my call. Let's throw this out to the jury and say, what do you think? Is this content appropriate or not appropriate for this mission or for the platform? And then, you know, a handful of people will see it in the jury who are high trust individuals to be able to say, you know, content like this, maybe don't show it to people who are under 21, or content like this, don't show it to me first thing in the morning. Don't show it to people first thing in the morning, because when you're in the, you know, in the morning, you're trying to get your day started. Nobody needs to see that first thing in the morning, you know, or maybe, you know, put this up there with an explicit warning and say, you know, this isn't something that should be banned from the app, but it's got a lot of curse words in it. It's got, a person breastfeeding their child, you know, instead of labeling and saying, well, that's nudity, say, well, okay, but people breastfeed their children. It's not like, it's not like they're evil, you know, it's just bodies, it's just nipples. Men have them too, and say, I don't think this should be banned from the app, but I do think that it should be placed someplace out of, the view of whatever, people who are, registered felons or something like that, or what have you. All of that will become part of the curated experience, where we will lean on people who are willing to donate their time and be a part of a community. Also, there will be a box in here, or however, I'm not really sure, though there will be a button in any event for a feature called tables. And the tables will be where people will be able to play games, and we'll be able to do things like, part of the vision I see is maybe like a clue game, like a mystery, solve a mystery together, or a game similar to Catan, or Pit, if you guys, any of you remember Pit, like the resource sharing games, which get so lively and fun and people have a good time. It's basically like a party. You could throw a little party, and so you will have a table. Once you start a table, you can make it so you can invite people who are on the app at that point in time, say, hey, I just started a table, you want to come play a game with me? Or you can publish it to the whole congregation, to the whole community, and publish it out there and say, hey guys, I just launched a table, anybody who wants to come on in, come play a game, let's have a good time. My vision is that one day we'll even be able to launch a live video component to it. I'm still figuring out how that's going to look, where you can either see the board that everybody is playing, or if that person has, let's say, a Vimeo account, maybe a YouTube account, or what have you, and they want to go live and say, don't just look at the board, look at the whole, look at our whole StreamYard, look at our whole community. And then people will be able to not just join in to play, but be able to join into the comments like we have here, join in and start commenting and having a good time. And, if you don't want to play the game, but you just want to witness as other people are playing the game and, joking around with each other and having a good time, will be able to have a community like that, or something entirely different. The beautiful thing about this is we can code whatever we want. If it can be dreamed up of something that can be built in HTML, Java, Ajax, JavaScript, I mean, if it can be programmed with Python, we can build it, put it in here, and say, is this something people like? And the beta testers will be the first people to decide what those features will be. Basically, we have the shell of our own social network. Works on, in theory, every device, desktop or mobile. It will have all the same features and hopefully a little bit better, but it has no bots, no billionaires, and no bullshit. And that's the Korihor app at korihor.app. That's how it works. I'm going to have to go over to Replit now. This is the software I use to make this, and say temporarily hide the sign up button until we are ready to launch the beta. See how long it takes for it to do that. This is what I have been working my ass off on all week. Okay. 1 week ago, those of you who were here for the for my godless sermon, which normally I'm a little more prepared for, last week, know that I barely started on this about Friday of last week. It is now Friday of this week. Well, I guess now it's technically Saturday of this week. And that's what I've built in a week. And I have spent, roughly $300 in credits so far, which was not comfortable. That's not comfortable for me. But I believe in this. I believe this thing can change the world. I'm pretty freaking jacked about it. Ding, I just got informed that that button's been removed. Go ahead and publish it. I don't want anybody paying for the app right now or paying for membership in the app right now until it's at least at a better place in terms of security and privacy and things like this. One of the things that I'm developing is the laws of robotics, which is basically a page that says, look, this is an overall governing principle of the app that says we will never deploy features that use AI or agentic AI in collecting, storing, or transmitting your private information. And we will shut down and quote unquote poison any attempts from outside sources and outside AI and agent AI and scrapers to do the same. In other words, we are going to go aggressive about shutting down hackers and shutting down people who are hackers, people who are trying to scrape your profile account because they're your employer or something like that. If any information you don't want available to the world, you can shut it down and nobody will get access to it, no matter how sophisticated their technology, in theory. And also a commitment that we at the Church of Korihor will never endanger your personal security. Amen, Pearl. That's exactly right. Yep. You like that? You like that, Diana? Right? So that's the Korihor app. How cool is that? One day, people who have no idea what the Church of Korihor is will say, I Korihored that. Did you get the Korihor? Did you go on Korihor and do that? One day that'll just be like a normal thing. Maybe. And I'm just going to put this out there. You know how people will say, oh, well, this is book talk. If you're going to talk about TikTok, if you're going to have a TikTok channel where you talk about books, they call that book talk, right? Like on YouTube, if you have a YouTube channel that talks about books, they call that booktube. We'll call this I'm just shopping it. I'm just shopping it around. It's just workshopping it. Let's keep it loose, keep it fun. We'll call it whoring around. What are you doing? Whoring. I'm whoring it, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. What are you doing? I'm just whoring. Can you imagine the ads? Hey, hey, baby, what are you doing right now? Whoring around. You're what? It's whoring around on the internet. T-shirts. What you doing? Whoring around. Just whoring. Just whoring. And when people say, "What kind of organization is this?" You say, "Well, it's based on story of Korihor." What is Korihor? Oh, he's this guy on the he was this guy in the Book of Mormon. He was a villain in the Book of Mormon who turns out to be the good guy from the Book of Mormon because he was an atheist. And one of the things, one of the wonderful things about him is it says that he did cause many of the men, yea, and also the women, to commit many whoredoms, telling them that when a man dies, that was the end thereof. Couldn't have said it better myself. I just and I just did. It's like, yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And then does that mean that we're whoring around? You know what? Don't threaten me with a good time, dude. I'm loving it. What do you guys think? The Korihor app. Do you guys like the tables idea? Do you remember a few weeks ago I tried and failed miserably to create in like an afternoon an application where we could play like a Family Feud style game, and it sucked, but we had fun anyway. Can you imagine if we created a Family Feud game that actually worked? Or maybe we played like or we created like a Magic the Gathering style game where you actually collect and can save cards, and then you can have people who are designers for cards, and it's like I'm just going to sit here and draw out the illustration and create cards for a Magic the Gathering style game, or or other tabletop games. Maybe we'll have like Dungeons and Dragons meetups. Why not? I mean, we're already going to get accused of being the Church of Satan anyway. So, you know, whatever. And by the way, Satanic Temple people, I don't know about Church of Satan people. Uh, if you're out there, um, I don't know about you, but Satanic Temple people are pretty badass. They're pretty cool atheists over there at the Satanic Temple. They're doing good work, and you are welcome at the Church of Korihor. And again, people that nobody has to join the Church of Korihor or become part of our fellowship in order to use the app. You don't have to give money to us to use our app. You will be a little more limited in your features, and likely what will wind up happening is we'll hit you up for donations more often. Whereas people, for example, who right now my idea is that people who sign up as a VIP member for $48 a month, which may seem like a lot compared to what we normally ask people to contribute. But remember, it's a shit ton less than tithing, right? That's the way I look at it. It's like, think of it as it's a hell of a lot less than tithing. It's like people who get hit, who give $48 a month, the app never hits them up for donations to the church for the Church of Korihor itself. We just hit you up for, hey, help out this person. Could you help out that person? Could you help out this person? Could you help out that person? And then give you access to what will probably be a room, a VIP room, where they'll have a little more access than most people. So that's the Church of Korihor. It's been 2 hours, so we're going to quit for the day. What do you guys think? Uh, Are you disappointed that your man X Mojo is in the Epstein-Ballard matrix? 4 degrees of separation from Tim Ballard. I should Harry Carey right now. Uh, anyways, so it's fun. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that Jamin character. I tell you, there's something to this Gordon Bowen thing. Not really sure. Oh, Huggy forgives me. If Huggy forgives me, then I'll be all right, man. I can't I can't ask for more than that. That's all there is right there. You guys like the new let's have a show of hands. People who like right. Yeah, exactly. I think that's kind of the mode. You know, because I've been catching a lot of heat for saying that, you know, that Mike Lee on TikTok, the Mormons are after me about saying that Mike Lee is connected closely to the Epstein-Ballard matrix, and that his close associate, a guy he served with in student council leadership at BYU, is the new Mormon apostle. Everybody's talking about, destined to become the next Mormon prophet, or maybe two prophets down the road. Within the next 10 years, likely to be the Mormon prophet, Christian Gilbert. Christian Gilbert? No, Clark Gilbert. Yeah, Clark Gilbert. Whatever. Whatever. Yeah, all the same. That they're all in there with me. They're a lot closer than I am, because especially that Clark Gilbert guy, because he taught at Harvard when Larry Summers was running it and Alan Dershowitz was working there. And Alan Dershowitz, again, according to Tim Ballard, I'll not make that gesture. According to Tim Ballard, one generation, one degree of separation. Apparently, Tim Ballard knows Alan Dershowitz. So does Jeffrey Epstein, according to Virginia Giuffre, at least. They're all closer than you would think. Never have I been so happy to discover that I am 4 degrees of separation from Tim Ballard. Are you kidding me? I'll take it. I'm 4 degrees of separation probably from the Pope. I'm sure I'm 4 degrees of separation from Dallin H. Oaks. In fact, I'm probably closer. I know somebody who knows somebody who knows Dallin H. Oaks. I guarantee it. Dallin Hayseed Oaks. We got to carry it. We got to come back to this Gary Bowen story, because I do think there's more cheese down that. There's yes, Clark Gilbert is the guy's name. Yeah. No offense to any Mormons in the chat tonight. You guys are welcome here. Just be cool. And I hope you guys will go to korihor.app and sign up for the to become beta testers. I haven't tested that feature. I literally deployed it while we were going live tonight. Don't know how many people heard any of the new the new hymns of the Church of Korihor that we launched last week, but I'd love to play one of those for you now, just because I love them so much. I've been listening to them every day. I'm in love with the music of the Church of Korihor. Do you know we have, I think I counted the other day, we have 30 official published godless hymns at korihor.org. The interface for that we have so many hymns that the Wix-based interface is starting to go a little bit wonky, so sometimes it will lock up and freeze on you. So we're going to definitely have to deploy more features using the Korihor app for people to listen to music. Here's another thing. Ooh, do I show you? Yeah. You guys want to see one more thing? This is just an idea. You see that little plus button down in the bottom of the screen there? I had the idea that maybe you'll be able to hold your finger down on that post button and move it anywhere on the screen that you want. And there will be a dial around it. This is just an idea. I'm throwing it out there. By the way, beta testers will have access to a list of ideas we're dreaming up, and also bugs that have come up while you're testing, and prioritizing it so that as we go through, you can comment and add your own input on different ideas of, this is a good idea, I wish that it would have this, or I wish it would have that, and you'll even be able to propose new ideas for features, vote for those things, comment on those things, contribute to the dream of these expanded features. and a lot of how the app works will be dreamed up by the people that I trust to help us figure out some of these, figure out what features are out there, what features people want, and we'll just build it as we go. We'll make it do whatever we want. But I was thinking what would be really cool is if we can make it somehow ingest RSS feeds, or deploy RSS feeds for podcasts that have been approved by the Church of Korihor is consistent with the values, the 12 values of Korihorism, including things like body and sex positivity or BIPOC advocacy and LGBTQIA plus inclusivity and eco stewardship and intellectual honesty. And then, and also where we can publish music like hymns of the Church of Korihor, and then just ambiental music. If you just want to have a peaceful, something going on, we could create our own podcasts or our own feeds that can run in the background. That like we can invite people who've written books and say, hey, you want to promote your book? Come on the show. We have all these users on the app who are interested in audiobooks. Come on and either play some of your audiobook for us, or even just come on the program and read from your book for us, and see if we can. And then we'll put a link in there for people to hop over to Amazon and buy your book. The possibilities for building a community where we support small creators, and nobody has, and we work with people to do their own shadow work, and to volunteer and to serve other people, and to get support from a community, to get support for their art, get support for their growth, their personal growth, make a whole living out of helping other people and being helped by other people and having community. It's, through one hub, and even planning in-person events or online events where we get together and say, let's get together and have a good time, and support each other through this time. I think that this is exactly the kind of thing that we need in the world right now. And also, we're going to have to overhaul our overview app so that it actually works, and start doing more meditation and integrating that into the app. It's all kinds of, I'm just like super stoked about this. I don't know if you guys can tell, but in a week, we've already got basically a functioning app. I've even connected Stripe, the payment processor, to the app. I haven't tested it yet, but in theory, we can even start taking payments on the app right now. I just don't have enough in there that works to say, let's all go out there and do that. So I'm still referring people to saying, look, if you want to help with the app and help to defer the cost. Again, I've spent about $300 this week just vibe coding the app, which, was not comfortable, but considering everything that we've developed so far, pretty cheap, honestly. You can always go to korihor.org/donate. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get this thing out of here, and let's hear a godless hymn. Just because I love it so much, and I don't see any reason why I can't do a closing hymn that I like and want to hear. I'd love to share with you all our new godless hymn, From This Breath to My Last. I'll see you guys on Sunday for Godless Sermon.
From this breath, from this breath, given a legacy of faith, sought the wisdom of my age, raised in an unholy temple, cast out without my sage. But I am not dead, not beaten. From the tomb of saints I rise, raise the sinner's hand and heart. I take my oath, oh take my oath. From this breath, no gods will hold me again. To fools or kings, I'll not bend. I will stand where my fellows are, swear truth they cannot pray for, nor excommunicate.